somebody whose achievements on the athletics track have brought her medals, world titles, international acclaim, but also a place in incredibly intrusive newspaper headlines and invasive tests and humiliating speculation. Caster Semenya did not set out wanting her life to be the subject of international rumour. All she wanted to do was run. And in her new book called The Race to Be Myself, she opens up really for the first time about the high price she has paid for pursuing that dream. And ahead of the book's official launch in Cape Town tonight, it's a real honour to have her with us in studio today. Thank you, Caster, for making time to chat to me, and welcome to CapeTalk.
Oh, thank you.
Now, Caster, I finished your book and immediately thought, for all of the massive public speculation about who you are, I got to the end of the book and I thought, here is an example of a woman who knows exactly who she is and what her values are and how she is going to allow people to treat her or not. You've had to work that out through some very painful experiences, but it's clear reading this book that your sense of self is very firmly rooted in who you came from and in the absolute acceptance you received from the people around you in your childhood. Won't you tell us a little bit more about early life?
No, thank you. Thank you very much. I think it comes, with the family, you grow up in. Family plays, a very vital role in raising a kid. My parents have allowed, for me to be the person I am. They've never judged me. They've never questioned why I'm in this world, because they believed that I'm a gift, from God. And I appreciate that for them, because they've opened a room, for me to, find in my heart to study myself. As hence we say, race to be myself. It's one of those things that you always appreciate, your parents, because they appreciated you, as a gift. They've accepted you as a human being. They make sure that they teach you respect, they teach you humility. And from that, I think how your family treats you is how the community will do. And the community follow through what they see, in the household. And what they've done for me, they made sure that, I understand about, self-discovery, self-respect, self-actualization, being able to manage, myself from young has built, the person I am. As hence that they made sure that I understand for my purpose, understand my existence. And it goes through with my name, being called Mohadi, the one who guides. And I think from young, my parents have portrayed that. They made sure that they install, a great knowledge, a great sense of humor in a human, that to say, look, yes, even if you are different, that does not define you as a person. The definition of your life comes through your actions, where I believe in actions, that they speak louder than words. And it says, charity begins at home, where it takes a village to raise a kid. And I'll say the society has done well to make sure that I understand myself in a way that no one can understand.
Because your community did take the lead from your parents. You were in a very small rural town. You were a tomboy, as you write in the book. You did grow up taking on the boys, not standing down in front of a bully, playing soccer, and behaving in ways that were not the traditional expected path for the average girl in that community. And yet it sounds like the community were okay to let you be that person and accepted you as you were.
Yeah, I think when the community, sees what you see in you, it becomes easy for them to accept you for the person you are. Remember, I never questioned myself. I always understood my identity. I always knew that I'm a woman, and that's one powerful tool that you can have as a human. But I think also I allowed the community to engage with me so they can understand the person I am, things that I like, and then they could see the future. Me growing up as a young girl, age of 4, I play, soccer, with boys. I outrun them, I score goals, I defend. But I think it comes with the self-love. They've realized I love the person I am. I'm not there to seek for validation. I am there to guide them, to say, look, yes, I may be different, but this is how I want you to treat me. I gave them the respect. I allow them to understand me as a person, not as a monster or as an abomination. So I never allowed rejection in me. I never rejected the difference that I felt in me. But instead, what I did, I went into the community, I presented myself as a great person, someone with sense of humor. I had respect for everyone, but I made sure that I allowed them to know that I'm not, I don't fear anything, I don't take, nonsense, stuff like that. But what I like is that what my parents have translated the message, to my community, played a vital role to say, this is our baby girl, this is how she is, we love her for who she is, we're going to appreciate her, we're going to celebrate her, we're going to embrace her. And for me, I think that has played a vital role in my life, because I always understood the reason why I'm in this world. The cause of my life is to make sure that I go out there and make sure each and every individual embrace themselves. And you could see, when I'm around the boys, when they say a boy, I'll call them a girl, it became, that thing that, this one, when you challenge her, she stand her ground. She understand herself, she love herself. And I never question myself. I always told them, yes, I'm a girl, I'm a tough one. You have to bear with me too, because I accept you for who you are, and I expect you to respect me in that way. I think from young, it has always been about humility. It was always been about respect and making sure that whoever I see, I treat you with respect. I make sure that I make you happy. But the most important thing is that the happiness came within me, played a vital role, because I made myself happy. I made myself being welcome. I treated myself how I wanted them to treat me.
That must have made it bewildering for you when you then find yourself embroiled in an international media storm, talking about your body, your private business, things which you have been raised to believe are for you and your loved ones alone to talk about.
Of course.
And look, the IAAF didn't know what they were taking on when they picked on that girl. Yeah. Perhaps they hadn't realized quite how tough she was, but still.
Miscalculation.
Yeah. I mean, there's a beautiful quote in the book where you say that you knew, you never lost sight of the fact that your parents absolutely adored you, and that was enough when the rest of the world felt like it was looking at you as a monster, to use your own words, that was enough. But still, you were only 18 when this storm unfurled above your head. Maybe before we get there, though, let's talk about some of the steps along the way. Yeah. Castor, your book describes the extraordinary story of how your own determination, your own commitment to training, coaching yourself, got you as far as it did, and then how select individuals recognized the talent, saw the opportunity, helped you, whether it was your first pair of second-hand running shoes or the coach saying, come to our university, we will make a space for you to train with us, suddenly unlocking a proper training regime for the first time, proper nutrition, injury support, all these things you'd kind of muddled your way through on your own sort of sense. Not to be taken lightly, because until then you had literally been your first coach yourself, hadn't you?
Of course, yeah. I think it comes with self-discipline, setting up the standard, setting your priorities right, learning how to say no, but knowing where you're going. I think discipline, it comes with hunger, wanting to be better. Because for me, before all this success comes, it comes with what is it that I want, to achieve? What is it that I want the young upcoming, generation to see in me? For me, it was about perfecting that, making sure that I practice it up until I can't get it wrong. Because when I get to the city, I see all these young girls and young boys are training. I have no idea what they're doing. So for me, it was all about learning, studying human behavior. And when I look back where I'm coming from, I come back from, a place that is dusty. There is no, any infrastructure, no training facilities, no coaches. And for me, it was about, I want to be the change. They always say you want to be the change that you want to see. For me, first, I need to carry myself in a way that each and everything that I do, I set by an example. I make sure that I gather more information to know what's the next step all the time. Because at the end of the day, if you're coming from a rural areas, you gotta make sure that you ask if you don't understand. And when I got to that opportunity, getting into the cities, I was like, you know what? This is the dream I've been, it has been there. As a young girl, I always wanted to make it to the national team. I wanted to be in the Banyana team. But then when athletics came, that's where you start realizing about your independence, start realizing about decision making, being accountable, being responsible, and making sure that you take ownership of yourself, knowing where you're going, understanding, why you're doing it. I think those are things when they come along, you come across people who identify your talent and they tell you, look, we think you're a real deal. And then you come and say, okay, what is the next step? What is it that I need to do to come to you? The only thing that they told me is that know what you want, be disciplined, but you need to know how to invest in yourself. Time management is very important. But the only thing that you need to know is that we don't need to push you to be the best. It has to come within. And I think that's where hard work comes in, where I know, okay, I don't have to miss even a single training session a day. I have to show up all the time on the track. And I remember when I announced, to my team to say, I'm no longer going to be playing soccer. And I'm like, she's mad, this one. What is it that you're chasing there? Guys, I'm chasing dreams because I've watched Olympics, I've watched World Championships, I've watched All African Games. People win medals. Individual sports sometimes, you can take chances and then you gamble, you win. And for me, it was about being realistic and being practical. Soccer, I knew that I can do it good, but I didn't know how long it would take me to hold that World Cup trophy. You get what I'm saying? But when I looked into athletics, I said, look, the future is in my own hands. If I play this ball right, I'll get there. But I think also it comes with, the wisdom of the, teachers that play that role where they told me about, this athletics thing, it looks good at, in you. If you focus enough, there are world, championships, out there. There are people from Kenya that we see the resemblance. So if you do better, if you are obedient, if you make sure that everything that you do, you follow the instructions, you're going to get where you want to be. And it didn't take long for me to do that because I always dreamt of being in University of Pretoria. And I come across Michael Semenya. He was like, come here, I'll make you a world champion.
And he did. But of course, there's another element to the story. It's not only about recognizing where running could take you and what opportunities it would unlock for you. One of the most powerful things for me to read in this book was how running makes you feel. And if I may, I just want to share a quote. I love running with all of my heart. It is one of those things that just makes sense to me. Runners at every level know what I mean when I say running makes me feel free, but also grounds me. It's like meditating for me. It centers me. How early on did you recognize that? Did you feel something go click inside you and say, yes, this is something that feeds my soul as well as that I'm just good at it?
No, I think back then in 2006, that's when I realized, running, completes me. Running heals me because when I run, I forgot about everything. It's always me against me because when I run, you get at the rhythm, you find your place, you find your spot, and then you sit in a place where you start feeling comfortable. You take ownership of yourself. It's about, self-discipline where you're the one who calls the shots. When you're running, no one helps you because end of the day, even if you push me, if I don't have that power in me to push harder, I can't push. And for me, it's that zone where I feel free. I forgot about everything. I'll be like, I love being in this position because it's all about me. I only see the finish line. When I'm running with my peers, I find my comfort zone where my heart, is at ease. I forget about the world. It's more like I'm in paradise. You understand? When you read the Bible, you start understanding, what I'm talking about. It's like I take full ownership of myself and I make it all about me. And when always they ask me about your opponents, when I run, I don't see them. You know what I'm saying? It's me, against that clock. It's me making sure that I started and I finish it. I always tell people that it's not about how I start, it's about how I finish. I think even how I finish the race, you'll understand I'm furious, like, Lewis Hamilton on the track. You get what I'm saying? So I think for me, I'll say when I run, I'm complete. I feel alive. I feel, all the problems that are around me, they are gone. You understand? That's why I took this running, serious, where I want to change the world. I always, want to inspire the youth to make them understand that that's the only dance, you can enjoy, when you fit in and then you belong. on your own.
Now, the sad reality is that you spent many years of the prime of your career fighting people who said you didn't belong. And we'll start here, and it'll spill over past the 2:30 news headlines, I'm sure. But Castor, let's go back to the moment when you're 18 years old and your world is literally turned upside down. You're about to leave for your first major international championship in Berlin. Your mind is focused on what we've been discussing, winning the race. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to win that race? And what will I do if I do win? And you're allowing yourself to imagine that moment of winning a world championship race. And then you get a call saying you need to come for some medical tests. Not telling you what kind of tests, not telling you anything at all, simply saying, come and arrive at this doctor's office because Athletics South Africa needs these tests done before you get on the plane. Did anybody warn you what was waiting for you at the doctor's office?
No, not really. I don't think these people, thought about the strength I have in me. What they did, they just sent, a psychologist to come, try to counsel. But during that, counseling, you're not being told exactly what, this is all about. You're just being told, what, Kes, when you do good, people will talk. When you do bad, people will talk. You understand? You got to be strong. You got to stay firm. And then you are offered a gift. I remember Semenya gave me a chain, a gold chain. I'm like, the pandit was like someone running. I'm like, okay, you already pistoling me, as a champion, you kind of feel special. But my point to her was like, what's going on? Why are you pushing around the corner? She couldn't, openly just tell me what's happening. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, if it's doping, I'll go do it. And Michael, organize, transportation with HPC. I get to Mediforum then, it's Mediclinic. When I meet with this doctor, I ask him, I'm preparing for a championship now, I don't want to waste time because I have to pack and then, be ready, get to training. Yeah, he comes tell me, Kes, they did not really tell you what's happening, this is gender test. I'm like, yeah, gender test, no gender test. Look, man, I don't have time to waste here. You do what you have to do, then I go. And he sits with me down and he tells me that, look, from what I see, the girl you are, the testing that they're doing, it might be something that, the results are not going to make you happy, I'm afraid. I'm like, I'm not scared of anything. You understand? I'm not scared of myself. End of the day, what I know is that I'm a girl. There's nothing for me to hide. And he goes, and then he takes the blood, and then he tells me, I've been asked to evaluate you. I'm like, evaluate me for what? You know what I'm saying? So, they just want us to just do the thorough check. I'm like, I have no problem, to be evaluated because I'm a girl. At the end of the day, I really don't care. He has done the evaluation, he did the saunas, and then he finishes up. We see, then he tells me, the results, they might be something that you don't want. You understand? I say, fine, man. Any results that comes, they're mine. You understand? I left, I called Violet and said, look, this is what happened. I don't like it. And I feel like this test, it's something like they're doing it deliberately to make me step off the track. And I don't want to go there. At first, I'm like, I don't feel like going there because I don't want to be in a place where I feel like I force myself into. She was like to me, look, you are born to do this thing. You're not going to give up your dreams because of someone. I'm like, oh, if you say so, let me go rumble. And we travel. I get to, Germany. I meet with the team. I get to the camp. We drive to, Berlin. When we're in Berlin, everything is fine, it's good. We run the heats. After we run the heats, I've been asked to do the test, but they took the blood. They don't say anything. The following day, they do the same thing before the heat, the semi-final. I'm like, I was with Wilfred Daniels then. Wilfred was furious. Well, what's going on? Why are you doing this thing? This is a young girl. Well, if is that the threat? Why do a lot of blood tests? He doesn't know what's going on. And, I'm just quite looking and say, hey, these people, they think they will disturb me. They don't know. But I was focused, remember. My goal was more on the championship, not on how people treat me. I know I'm different. It doesn't bother me. And I went for the semifinals. They did the same test again. Yes, number 3. You understand? So now I started understanding those words that, Semenya used to say, when people see greatness in someone, they'll try to come, disturb you. They'll try to make you that you don't belong. I said, oh, okay, let me just focus on my race. Then they took me, after the semis, we went to, the one hospital. I don't know what was that. And they do the same test. They take the blood, and then now they say they want to do evaluation. I said, I did this thing, man. Don't waste my time. Can we get done with this thing? And they done that. They evaluate, but then that's come a tricky part. They want to, physically evaluate. I'm like, no, you're not gonna go through that. You have to go from the back, because I'm not gonna let individual come violate me. I know my rights. But one thing I know, guys, there's nothing for me to hide. But if you think by doing this will stop me becoming who I want to be or becoming a champion, in the wrong place. And we went, they did that. I get to the hotel, I meet with the vice president, Kakatama Bonyani. He was like my dad. He's coming from the same province. And he was like, Kes, we got, the results, and they say you have high elevated testosterone. Like, so what? What does that mean? Does it mean that I'm not going to run a championship? He said, unfortunately, they want you to be withdrawn from the race. I said, over my dead body. And that was the first time and the last time he saw my tears drop, because I'm like, I didn't come this far to fail myself or fail, my people. I'm going to make it to that final without you, with you or without. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, you guys, is either you're going to withdraw as the council members, because I study sports science already. I know the sports law. I already know what I'm doing, what I'm dealing with. And he went, submit, the answer to the president. The president come to me later and say, you know what, thank you for enlightening me with this thing, to say, look, I need to fight for what is right. And he said, I withdrawn from, the IAAF as a council member, we're going to fight. I say, my man, you gotta bring that medal, I'm gonna, put it on my neck. But what I'm saying is that when you do good, people will always find a way to destroy you. Will always find a way to make sure that you don't belong. But for me, I had that mind to say, you know what, I'm not going to let anyone tell me if I'm enough or not. I'm the one to decide. If there's anyone, to stop me from running, they must come drag me off the track. The president was like, are you really going to do that? And then, yes, but they leaked the results already, IAAF. And then they said it's accidentally. That was purpose. They wanted me to feel, like I don't belong. They wanted me to feel shame. Of course, it's shameless. They shamed me, but they didn't realize that I was not focused on the media. Me, I'm a simple human. I don't really focus on what people say on the media and what. And I was asked after the semi-final to say, what do you have to say about being born a man? I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the league. And the day of the final, here I walked to the track, in the warm-up track, and then these people, they look at me with those eyes, they disbelieve, they're scared. I'm like, okay, if they're scared, I'm going to show them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about the actual leak of the results. I only knew about this when I'm in South Africa. Funny part. And they don't talk to me, those ladies. One lady from British, the British athlete say, hello, Kester, I hope you're fine. I'm saying, yeah, I'm good, But, for me, what I'm trying to say is that when you are meant to be, you'll be. There's no one that can come and stand in your way. There's no one can come and diminish you. There's no one that can come stop you to become the greatest you are. And I have rocked that. I made sure that I do what I do best. And for me, I always tell people that I thank these people for trying, to destroy me, because that was the rise of Caster Semenya, because that was the beginning of me being, the person I am. They helped me to discover myself. By leaking those results, those were just the medical results, because today as we speak, it educates people about the differences that a human have in the body. It does not matter as a man or woman, but it speaks to an individual who does not feel like, they are real, who feel like they don't belong, who feel like they're rejection. But for me today, I'll say, look, it's okay to be different. Learn to embrace the person you are.
Let's address the immediate question that the IAAF is fighting over. As you told us before the break, the shocking revelation that you found out at the same time as the rest of the world that your body was not the same as your sister's bodies. That was not shared with you privately. You were not given any kind of counseling with that information. You saw it in a newspaper headline with the rest of the world. The medical ethics, the ethics of leaking that report, obviously ludicrous. But let's talk about the issue that it then raised. The IAAF saying, well, here is somebody who has lived with heightened testosterone. And that gives you an unfair advantage over most of the women you compete against. Do you believe that? Do you believe that the testosterone is the thing that makes you so good? Or is there more to it than that? Because you carried on winning even after you suppressed your testosterone, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, that's a proof to say, look, testosterone does not play a role, in my performance. Why? Because it's just a disorder. I'm a woman, who's born, without a uterus. Yes, I'm born, without fallopian tube, internal, gonads. But performance comes through, time management, spending time in training. Why I say so? If it really played a role in my performance, why am I not running fast as men? You get what I'm saying? Why am I not, a world record holder now as we speak? Why am I not running 144, in 800 meters? Why am I not running 46 over 400 meters? It always shows that, sometimes when people, they pick, battles based on the number that they see, especially this regulation affect, only African, ladies. It only affects, girls from Asia. That their research is just quantitative. They looked only on the number of the girls that are in the sports. And why I say so is that the information that they bring in, it's just it's flawless, it's misleading, and they're agreeing that it's that, and they publish a journal that does not really make sense. It's not practical, it's not valid, it's not adapted. It is adapted by them. And to me, I always ask a question and say, yeah, you see, if I was running 800 meters, 141, I'll question that. Say, you know what, maybe you're right. But the point is, my condition is just a disorder that I was born with. It's just one of those things that are rare, to find. And now when we go beyond and start, to see if this really play a vital role, it's not, because I train as much as they're training. I put time as they're putting in training. The problem is that now, because the Asians and the Africans are taking over, in the middle distance, is a problem. And when you confront, the authorities about that, they become, defensive. So if it's necessary, for women's sports to be regulated, why can we as women, decide, not someone trying to influence women to discriminate, against each other, to segregate women from women? For me, I'll respect that. But to answer that, I'll say there's no such thing as advantage, because when you say my muscles, these muscles, you gain them from training, because I studied sports science. I studied sports physiology. I studied anatomy. I understand the principles of training. We go through high-intensity programs. We gain everything from training. You don't gain performance from, the high testosterone that you have, and then the testosterone that you have comes as a disorder. As a medical term, when you talk about a disorder, it's something that is not effective. If I was a woman, that produces a sperm to produce a seed, I'll say yes, I'll walk away because it gives me advantage. But for me, it's just a condition that does not really play a vital role in my life. You get what I'm saying? And moving to the sports, they can't really prove. The suggestions that they give in is like, yes, because they are broad, they are big, they are masculine. But But there are a lot of women who are masculine. There are a lot of women that are tall. There are a lot of women that are running even faster. I can't even run faster than all those women out there, even the number one in the world record holder. You get what I'm saying? And I always tell to people to say, look, we need to do research on our own. We must not rely on things that are published without, full information. And they are misleading. They keep on fighting, and then it's personal, where someone all the time hide behind the mic and say it's necessary to get rid of Semenya. I'm like, yes, you may get rid of me, but when it comes to court, we will always fight, for injustice. We will always fight for you people to treat us with respect. And I always say, if you want to prove, bring the proof. It must be, all the methods that you make. Give us something that is valid, something that has been adapted, and there's no subject. It's always about the assumptions that they give. And if you're going to come with the number of the athletes that you see on the track, and you try to influence women to support something that does not exist, for me, it's always going to be a problem.
Castor, before we talk further about the legal battle that has led you into, I believe we've received a voice note from one of our listeners listening at home or at work who would like to say something to you. So let's take a listen to that, and then after we've heard that voice note, we'll talk a little bit more about the extended legal battle.
This is Ben, and I think that what Castor has been subjected to is absolutely vile, and abhorrent. And I blame, number one, Sebastian Coe. Sebastian Coe has been pushing this narrative for the longest time. And it's absolutely unacceptable. Unacceptable. Kudos to Castor. She's a world champ.
Thanks, Ben, for that. Well, Sebastian Coe's ears must be ringing. He doesn't come off lightly in your book. And let's talk a little bit about the battle with the IAAF. How did it all begin? The lawyers actually came to you and said, we're outraged on your behalf. We would like to intervene. It wasn't something you initiated. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. They came in, as pro bono. They wanted to help me to fight the battle. I told them I'm still young, to fight the battle. But then Sebastian was never part of this. He's just a young boy. He just came in, pushing his agenda. He doesn't know what really transpired then. And what happened is that they come and say, we want to fight. I said, I'm too young to fight. I want to learn. I want to understand myself. You understand? Because at the end of the day, we are busy saying we want to fight. No one has gathered anything yet. I want you to find a way to get me back on the track. And IAAF comes with this, proposal to say, look, she needs to go under surgery. I said, there must be something better. They didn't have any option, and that's why I always tell them, for me taking the medication, it was my choice with my gynecologist, because she said, I'm gonna take you to the route that you're not gonna like. I know this medication was not made for your body. It's not made for your body. I say, I can do anything that get me back to the track. You see, this is an 18-year-old girl who's acting, out of desperation. I wanted to be, a champion time and again. But I did not know what will this medication, my doctor, prescribing, will do to me. And she comes and explains nicely to say, look, we have to convince them, to let you run. You understand? And we did that. We had, ongoing, conversations. Eventually, they agreed that, okay, if you guys think it will work, as long as she can have, 10, male down. So, okay, if they say I can do that, I'll do anything to make it work. We did that. But it was tough. It was hard. It was, the darkest, time of my life, because everything changed. And this 6 months, you have to take something that, make you sick. It's not designed for your body. Every day you are depressed, you're never happy. I'm telling you, I was never happy. Even my parents, they could see that there's a dark cloud there. And I did so, I take those medications, and, the doctor say, you only have 2 years to take this thing, or else, you're gonna have problems. Because then I started developing, a little bit of blood clots. I started having panic attacks. I'm nauseous. I always want to vomit. I'm always sick every day. Every night I sweat. I eat like hell, man. It's like, I was like, Violet, was there watching. It was like, why are you even doing this? I tell her, you know what? You don't understand. I feel like I'm being deprived of being the person I am. I feel like there's more to offer. And when young girls want to take this route, I always tell them, look, this is where you draw the line. You being yourself and being someone that you will never be. You'll never be the same person you were when you started taking this medication. Even when I stand here, I'm not that same person. You get what I'm saying? It has changed me. It has changed the person I am. And when we agreed that we take this thing, okay, I took it. And they tell me 2 years. And 2 years pass, the doctor tells me, Kaz, you see, you're shutting down. Your body's no longer gonna respond to this. I said, look, I'm not enough with the championships that I'm running. I'm gonna keep forcing to take this thing till I'm enough. And a big mistake, because when I continue taking that, that's when it started taking charge of my body. I train, I don't feel anything. I run, I don't enjoy. The positions that I get, I'm just there. I'm just there, running. And what I'm trying to say is that when you act out of desperation, that's where you end your life. Because most of the young girls, they've took, that vow. They took that direction. Some, they will take suicide. They will take that direction. It affects you mentally. You are always stressed. You don't see the reason to live. But for me, I kept, that thing in mind to say, you know what, I'm here for a reason. There's a purpose. I'll live for my purpose. If I'm not, a double world champion or, double Olympic champion, I'm not gonna stop. You get what I'm saying? When you act out of desperation, you do things. And when now IAAF lie to say they have enough evidence to say a woman with DSD taking this medication, it's safe, it's no, there are no safety precautions. I became the subject. You get what I'm saying? I'm the only person who, voluntarily went to say, I'll take the medication to come in and run. They have no scientific evidence to say if a woman, who's intersex, as much as say, who's a DSD taking the medication is safe. It's not safe. It leads you into cancer because you develop those things. And for me, that's why, the World Health Organization, when they say they don't agree with that, I say, yes, it's because they have not done the research. They don't have a research. They will never have one because there's no such thing as someone with a disorder taking a medication to low testosterone, it's safe to do sports. There's no such a thing.
Evidence.
No, there's no enough evidence. It will never be because Dr. Berman studied physiology. He does not know anything about these things. You get what I'm saying? In terms of medication, he does not know anything.
So look, this continues to occupy the ongoing challenges and appeals in your legal fight, which is now sitting at the European Court of Human Rights, and challenges of the studies not having been peer-reviewed, questioning the evidence. It's an ongoing fight. Castor, it's an ongoing fight that has almost moved you into the point of it being a moot point, because at some point you must be recognizing I'm spending what would have been the prime years of my career fighting in court. Does there come a point at which you go, I'm going to prepare to pass this battle on to somebody else because I'm fighting for the right to try and chase a world record that I'm now probably never going to get anyway?
No, I think for me it comes with that you get matured, you start sacrificing yourself to make sure that the young upcoming generation does not face the same injustice, the same scrutiny that you face. And for me, I'll say I've played my part, I've played my role as an athlete. Now it's my job to make sure that I fight for what is right. I fight the injustice. I fight for inclusivity and diverse. I advocate for that. And when I look into how it affects young African girls, for me, it does not set me right, because I had opportunity to showcase my talent. I had opportunities to win all major titles, under scrutiny. But what I don't want to see is that to see the very same men come, discriminate women. Come allow, this nonsense, go around. Come and say women should discriminate against each other. Women should, be segregated from one another. For me, I will not say it's not a waste. I'll say it was a plan. God has planned, this life for me to be the change, to educate people about these differences, to teach people to treat one another with respect. Remember, the reason why it's in the High Court, is because we believe that each and every individual should be treated with respect. Human rights matters the most. How are you going to treat people? You must treat them with respect if you want to be respected. This is what we're fighting for now. But when we move from the High Court, going back to Court of Arbitration, we want a solution where we say, okay, before you go into regulate, you need to be clear, especially the facts. If really women with DSD are killing sports, especially particularly in women's sports, why all these women are running fast time as we run? Why are they close to us? You know what I'm saying? They run PBs. All women I run with, the very same ones that go behind my back and say, yeah, we don't want her, it's unfair. But they celebrate after running those PBs. And the fact remains the same to say there is no advantage as such. It's just the lines that separate us as people, from, continent to continent, where someone comes with his own agendas. He drives, this agenda to say, look, I'm going to separate this other, kind of women from other women. But at the end of the day, the differences that we have in the body does not determine the performance on the track. That's what I can say. But we will continue on fighting this battle. For me, I'm still 32 years of age. They are older than me. I'll make sure that they sweat for their life. I swear to you guys. Me, when it comes to women's sports, I will do anything. My time, I will spend it on making sure that women understand their rights. Women understand their worth. Women take charge of what they think is right. And that's all.
For the rest, you will have to read the book for yourself. Caster Semenya's memoir is called The Race to Be Myself. And if you'd like to know about what she dreams of doing one day when all of this is done and the quiet life on a farm she imagines with her wife and children, and if you would like to read the stories of the training and the stories of the vision she has for the athletes she will one day train and has already in fact started training, please pick up a copy. It's published by Jonathan Ball and available in South Africa now. Caster, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Lunch with Pippa Hudson
on CapeTalk.